Okay, so let's take off one of the bowls here. We'll start on the near one. Now, granted, I don't have the JIS standard tip on this Phillips screwdriver, but let's just try this out. I'm gonna have a gentle touch, put some adequate pressure on his, and I think, yeah, see? Fortunately, the last person to take this apart did not over torque these screws, so they are coming out okay. Also helps too that this is a magnetic tip, so it'll help pull those screws out once they're completely unthreaded. And yeah, see, there we go. And each one of these screws has a little lock washer on it just to provide a little bit of tension and keep these from, you know, loosening up and backing out during the process of driving down the road, which of course is a good thing not to have happen. So this particular carb design, there are 3 screws that hold the bowl on. So let's pop this thing off and see what it looks like. Okay, so it came off fairly easily here. Oh wow, that all looks very clean. Well, I don't see any evidence of lacquer or anything at all. Look at the inside of that bowl. That looks really good. And it's hopefully a really good indicator of what the other 3 are going to look like, including the rest of the innards of this carburetor. We'll put that there. We'll just leave it without the screws in it. Just that is really looking good. Good shape. Same with the inside of this bowl. So you get the light to shine on it just right. Yeah, that's looking really good. So we're going to look at a few more things on this carburetor and make sure that all 4 of them are in identical shape. And we'll get back to you here in a few minutes with what the jury's still out on as far as how we're going to maintain or do any repairs to this carburetor. Okay, so we took all 4 bowls off, and frankly, each one of them looked equally good. So now I'm just reinstalling them. Again, 3 screws per. Each one has a little lock washer on it. It's important not to over torque these. This does not require a real high level of torque to tighten these down. You want to get to the point where you're going to get a good feel for it, but you want it to be snug to where you know the lock washer is going to grab onto the underside of that screw head and keep it from backing out. But you don't want to turn it so hard that you run the risk of having the screwdriver kind of cam out of that screw head. So that's it for looking at the bowls. Let's flip this thing over and look at it on the other side, the top side. While we're doing this cursory visual examination, just want to show you, get a quick glance on the innards of this. The way the light is angled, it's kind of difficult to see in there. Short story is, it's all looking very, very clean in there. All right, so admittedly I was a little scared of these screws, the 2 screws that hold on each one of these covers. So before I started filming, I just tried my hand on this first one, and fortunately both of the screws began to loosen without any cam out on the head. So let me just set this back in plain sight. We'll back the screws out and take a look at what's going on inside. Again, sometimes it's surprising how helpful it is to have this minor convenience of having a magnetic tip on your screwdriver. Highly recommend it. Okay, so in this case we have a little bracket is also being held on by that back screw. The bracket is actually, this fuel line is clamped onto it, and it's over the flange. Let's see if I can slip it out from underneath. There we go. At least she's loose that way. Let's see. Okie doke. So if you can see, again, this little bracket right here is intended to receive the fuel line. It's clamped onto there with that little spring clamp. So I'm going to try to get this fuel line off of this bracket and hopefully be able to get it so that that bracket's out of the way so that this can come off. Thinking a pair of needle nose pliers might be better. Okay. You want to have a gentle touch with all this. These are not the kind of parts that you want to be reefing and tugging on too hard. Okay. We're getting some movement here. Bear with me. See? Just turn it sideways. And now this comes off. And wow, look at that, nice and clean. So you can see in there how clean that is. Really no evidence of any unnecessary or unwelcome lacquering from old gas sitting in it. So previous owner must have taken good care with this and or at least done regular maintenance with it, because what we're seeing here is looking pretty good. While I have this off, I'm just going to take some time, clean it up a little bit with some PB Blaster, and we'll put it back together. But this bodes well for the other three. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and put this back together. Again, this is all about having a gentle touch. So we're gonna get this bracket slid back up here and swung around back into position so that we can reset our screws. See if I can do this two-pronged approach. Sometimes I almost feel like it would pay to have skinnier little fingers. There was a time. Ah, there we go. That drop right into place there. Ain't too bad. Get this back up where it belongs, like thus and so. We'll get the back in there like that. Have it. Good as gold. Snug without being too snug. Okay. Back on there. That's looking pretty good. Let me just hit the outside of this right here. A little bit of PB Blaster. Clean that up while I'm at it before I move on to the next one. There you go. By the way, I keep making reference to PB Blaster. This is Not a sponsored video, just so happens to be the brand I'm using. It's not the only brand, but it is the brand I selected when I was at the auto parts store. It's a well-known brand, so probably not surprising you with that brand choice. The others are going to take a bit more effort only because of the existing fuel lines that will have to be removed or somehow set aside in order to get them off. So I will not include that in the scope of this video, but just simply let you know the results of what I found after I do it. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to show you all four. I figured at least I'd do a show of the last one as a good indicator that the last one looks just as good as the first one. So again, everything so far from a visual inspection standpoint, everything's looking pretty good, pretty clean. Not to mention the fact that they all look like visually, all the valves, the butterfly valves, are in sync with each other. Of course, that all has to be verified and tested, but again, quick visual inspection, everything is looking good so far.